Before we get started with today's show, I want to remind you about another great ESPN podcast, Stupidity. This week he has no idea who he's going to talk to, but, it'll be good. You can download and subscribe to Stupidity as well as The Right Time wherever you get your podcasts. Let's talk about Daniel. A year ago, he resolved to stop putting off what he wanted to do, get into information technology. Daniel enrolled in My Computer Career and is now already a few months into his IT career. Make 2020 your year. There are millions of unfilled cybersecurity positions in the U.S. right now, and My Computer Career is training people to help fill them. No IT experience or education? No problem. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in months, not years. Attend classes on campus or live online just twice a week to get what you'll need to start your new career. More than just a school, My Computer Career helps you get into the industry by working with hundreds of employers that hire our students. My Computer Career is nationally accredited and financial aid is available for those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Classes start soon, so make new year, new career your resolution and take the free career evaluation today at mycomputercareer.edu. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You then give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. Coming up on this episode of The Right Time, we got big name quarterbacks who are on the move. We have got your stories on why you quit football. Man, we just got a lot. But first, yeah, you ever wanted to know what it would sound like if I talked to you from my bedroom? It's happening right now. Gabe, where are you set up?
I'm set up at the desk in my living room.
Your wife got like a real job and stuff, so y'all need to have like dedicated space like that at your crib. I have a dedicated like office at my house. I just never wind up working from home anymore, so I never really use it. And therefore I don't like run the temperature control in there. It's a little brisk in that room. So I'm like, nope, I'm just going to be sitting here on my bed doing this here podcast. It's a little different, Gabe. I'm out of the practice of work from home, but I guess everybody doing it now. Y'all working from home? This is where we are. This is what we've got. And everybody out here, I've seen people put up their suggestions on how it is that you should work from home and all those things. And I got all the suggestions in the world for how it is that you should work from home because I used to do it for a very long time. And you know what? I have basically completely forgotten all of those suggestions, right? Like the whole thing, like, man, you got to get up, start your day with a routine, go ahead, get up, take a shower, do all that stuff, right? Get yourself, get yourself going in a way. I'm here to tell you, the breath on the right time ain't never been as funky as it is right now. Just hasn't happened. Just hasn't come up. This is where we are. This is where we stand. Yeah, it was cool. Did I take a shower? Does it matter if I did? The only question is whether or not I will. And I'm sure at some point it'll happen. I promise. When's the last time I shaved my head? Not sure. It's going to be a little rough the next time I do it, right? But been a while because most of us are stuck indoors. I understand that there are quite a few of you who probably a little salty because you see that all your friends are getting snow days and you wish that you was getting a snow day, but instead you got to go to work. I'm just going to tell you this from my experience in this world. I enjoyed when I didn't have to work from home anymore. Like maybe I just enjoy my fellow man a little bit more than y'all do, right? But I like going out and like having people to see and have conversations with and the likes. I dug that, man. Being at the house all the time. Like it was one thing when I was at the house and I was doing a radio show because at least for like 3 hours I would be talking to people. But when I used to just be a writer at the house, oh, bruh, that got old fast. That got old really, really, really fast. Because you know what I found working at home meant for me? A lot of working late. A lot of working late. Like that, man, is it 5 o'clock yet? I'm going to jump in my car. That impulse don't hit you the same way when you at the crib. When you at the crib, you just wind up keep on going. Next thing you know, it's 8:30 and you ain't got no food yet. Yeah. That is not the way that you want to be out here living this life. But that is where we are. Our sports, significant portion of them have been disconnected. I don't know if disconnected is the right word, but you understand what I'm saying. We ain't got them. They aren't happening. I don't really get the feeling that people care about that nearly as much as like we would have thought. Thursday is going to be the day that the NCAA tournament should have started. And of course, there's going to be people on the internet who make note of the fact that, oh man, this is when we normally do the tournament or whatever it was. But like, I used to always sit for conference tournament weekend and be like directly in place for that. Like that was my thing. That was my bag. I'd watch all that stuff, man. That was supposed to be a couple days ago, man. I mean, it would have been cool to have, but we got stuff. What they call it? OTT. We got all kinds of those services. Like, I think it was a matter of pushing through through that. Now where everybody's on the kick, where they telling us like, hey, do not go inside. I don't even know like who it's okay for me to see. Cause on one level, it's like I live around the corner from my brother. Hey, we should be able to hang out, except if we all supposed to be out here pretending like we got it. Or operating as though we're asymptomatic is the best way to put it. So if we're all supposed to operate as though we are asymptomatic, meaning that we have it and we just don't know it, I don't like, what am I supposed to do, Gabe? Am I allowed to just like, am I allowed to go see people if I only see them like one at a time?
I was going to ask whether or not you were, before we hopped on, whether or not you were shacked up like at your brother's place or whether or not your brother was with you, if we're kind of have it all in the family type of situation.
Let me explain something to you about living in New York City, Gabe. People ain't got that much space around here. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you are going to be shacking up with somebody that you don't sleep with, the bond's going to have to be a lot stronger than he's my brother.
You don't have that kind of bond with Patrice.
I mean, I don't not have that kind of bond with him. It's not about the bond. He ain't got that much space. Right? And like, maybe we could come, maybe we just all shack up over here. He could bring his wife, but you know, I don't think they want to sleep in the queen size bed. They've grown accustomed to a different sort of lifestyle. You understand what I'm saying? One thing that's going to be tricky about this in New York is they're like, yo, we want everybody to stay inside. People's living accommodation in this city are not so much built for people to all be in the house at the same time. Like, I did not understand this. Like, when I was in college, the cats from New York would just always be outside. They'd always be on the porch. They'd always be on the street, right? Like, they'd always be out. And I could not understand that. And then I moved here and I was like, oh, okay, I've got a better handle on what's going on here. They ain't got enough space inside for everybody to just be there. You know what I mean? Like, you got people out there, like 5 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment type situation here. Not everybody is built for this, for the time period that we talk about. Like, you don't necessarily need to be out here like posting up at a bar or a restaurant or something like that. But I'm here to tell you, it's going to be some people posted up outside because this place is not built for everybody to be inside at the same time. I'm actually doing okay in my place because one thing I think that people lose sight of here when it comes to privilege. You want to know one of the great privileges in this world? Space. Space is a wild privilege that you don't think about very much. Like, Gabe, let me ask you this. Did you grow up like in a house?
I did.
Did you grow up with your own bedroom?
No, I did not. I was shacking up with 2 of my brothers, so the 3 of us for like the first decade of my life, and then I didn't have my own room until I left.
Oh yeah, so you appreciate the value and privilege of space.
Hell yeah. I was definitely the brother that put all of my brother's dirty clothes on their side of the room.
Because see, like, my siblings are older than me. My youngest sibling is 10 years older than me. So I have always had my own room. I had always had like my own bathroom, like had to share a room in college. We had a decent sized room there. And like, you know, the community bathroom, which is always the worst idea. But like, overwhelmingly my life, I grew up, I never had to share a bed with anybody. Like, you hear these stories people tell about like sharing, like they grew up sharing beds with 2 of their siblings, like me, my brother, and my cousin. We all slept in the same bed, whatever it is. That is a life that I do not know, right? The ability to have space, like the ability to go somewhere and be left alone. That is something that a lot of people in this world never have. Never, ever, ever have, is the ability to just be left alone. So many people do not have that. Now some of us have got this in droves, right? Like, the people who are stuck in their places and they're all by themselves are miserable because they're all by themselves. The people who are stuck in these places with 5 other people, man, they wish they could be just all by themselves, right? Like, this is going to be a real grass is greener situation for everybody because the reality is we just going to be kind of stuck where we are for a little while. And this is what we have to do. Gabe, last week I told people to wash their damn hands. Now, I don't even know if I need to tell them to wash their hands because don't go nowhere where it matters. Bruh, they not even letting the delivery man come to your door. You got to go meet him at the desk. Like, and honestly, I don't know how long it's going to be before we ain't got to do it at the desk no more. Like this is what it is. Like, this is the state of affairs. People ask, like, where's it going to go? Well, look where it's gone in the other countries where this is hit before. And then you can kind of do the math and compare our preparedness in this country to everybody else. And then you can get a gauge on what direction this is all going to go in, man. But this is kind of scary. I don't know if you've been looking at the business page, but I recommend you don't. It's the biggest drop, I want to say, since 1987. There was no time of the Great Depression that had a bigger drop than this. Those of us with older parents, as you guys know, or as many of you know, I have older parents. I had to tell my mama to stop going to the gym. I was on the phone with her the other day, and she's like, yeah, I went to the gym, and there were only 8 people there. I'm like, Mama, I'd appreciate if you didn't go to the gym. Well, you can wipe down the machines. Could you please not go to the gym, right? Like, I'm scared to go to my parents' house. I'm scared to go home because, my parents are old, and I don't want to bring nothing to them. Little do I know, they out here trying to see what's cracking at the gym to bring it back their damn selves. And I find I'm not the only person that is in this situation where we are now out here having to parent our parents. See, my daddy, he ain't really sweating that. He gonna stick around inside. And you want to know the difference between my daddy and my mama? It's very simple. My mama believes that there is a life after this one. My daddy does not, right? There ain't no best case scenario if he catch the Rona. No, it's just cut scene. That's it. Right? My mama's like, it'll be clouds and halos and everything else. I'll see my dad. No, my pops ain't looking at it that way at all. So he gonna be posted. Like, this is where he is. And so for a lot of us, man, a lot of things just feel, I don't even know if uncertain is the right word to say how a lot of this stuff feels. Cause I do feel like it's ultimately going to resolve itself. I do feel like, at least for me personally, this isn't going to come with like a great deal of personal loss for me. Like, if I'm really doing the math on it. I also thought about, let's say something happened to my parents, for example. What could I do? Like, I can't show up. I live in a city that's looked at right now as being the epicenter of this virus. Like, what could I do? What am I going to do? Like, bring the subway to their house? I can't do that. I would just kind of be like stuck here. You've seen this mentioned like in the reports about Italy and the idea that they shut down all these public gatherings, and it's happening, of course, in different degrees here. But one thing they talked about was funerals. And I thought about, man, that's got to be absolutely miserable for you that if you lose a loved one in this time, that y'all can't like lay them to rest. You can't do all the things that are here so that the people left on earth can heal. Like, I've seen I feel so bad for people who won't be able to have their weddings, man. Them. All right? You can't have your wedding. You can reschedule your wedding, whatever it is. You can work that out. Can you imagine a funeral? Right? Or somebody got to keep that body above ground for who knows how long? And everything that comes with that. Like this is just kind of where we are in this. And I don't really myself know what to make of a lot of it. I think I had planned when we decided we were going to do this podcast and I was going to come on and just talk about like what happened, in the sports part of it. But to be honest, what happened in the sports part of this, you don't have to listen to this podcast. You can listen to the one we did a week ago. Kind of told you exactly how it was going to shake out. As soon as one player got infected, they were going to have to shut the whole thing down, which is basically what happened with the NBA. The NCAA held on as long as they could, and I can't blame them because they're like, this is the way that we make money, and we're not going to get any of this money if we shut this down, right? Like, all the things that happen in sports, I said at one point we're going to find out just how greedy everybody is, and I think that's part of what happened, but I also think that it's a lot of people who aren't greedy in this who needed them to hold on as long as they could because they needed to eat. And there's a lot of people out here that don't know how they're going to get their bread. It's going to be a lot of things out here in these streets where your favorite restaurant might not be back when this is all over, Like a lot of things, like places that you love, especially in New York where they jacking the rents up on everybody, a lot of things you're accustomed to ain't promised to be back. They're not. Like, this is an inflection point in our time. The NBA and like these leagues, NBA, NHL, whatever, I don't know how they may never be the same again in ways that you'll notice. They may change the way that they scheduled the season and everything else. Like all of this just because of how this is going to play out. And I don't have any idea how long this is going to go. Gabe, did you see they canceled Euro 2020?
Yeah, they rescheduled it for next year. So it wasn't quite like a cancellation, but certainly rescheduling something to next year has all of these like downstream knockdown effects where the stuff that was scheduled for next summer is going to have to get pushed. But yeah, they're really trying to get the end of the European soccer season in this summer.
I was supposed to get 2 weeks off from TV during the Euro. Ain't nobody think about that, did they? Did they? Seriously, yo, you know what I mean? Like, damn. Anyway, I'm not at the point of everybody hold on to whatever it is, but I will say this, and I think this is, as we talk about like processing this and as we deal with it as it goes, something to consider. People are dying of this, but we haven't had anybody die that is famous, like that people know of. That's going to be the next level of this in terms of the ways that people process it, is that if we lose somebody famous, somebody that people know, somebody that people like, that's going to be the next level of like the emotional response of this, right? Because we got like the, you know, all our attention or whatever it is from being cooped up inside and stuff like that. That's one thing. But the next one's going to be like if some beloved figure is like legitimately ill because of this. Like Idris Elba said that he had it, and I know a lot of y'all like him a lot. And he said he had no symptoms or whatever. That made it easy to deal with. Can you imagine what it would have been if Idris Elba would have been like hooked up to a ventilator and then told everybody about it? You know what I mean? Like, imagine how that would have gone over. Gabe, have we talked about The Wire on here?
More or less in passing from here to there.
Yeah. I've said every nice thing I can say on that particular front. Everybody stay healthy.
You know he follows you on Twitter, right?
I have been told that, yes.
I tried to get him on the podcast, and that was a flat no.
Tell him I said get well. You hit him in the DMs?
No, I got a hold of his publicist, and they were like, no way.
Not just that we declined?
Yeah, that was just like a no, sorry, no thanks.
I think it could be a great interview. Don't you?
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
Don't you? Like, I think it could be interesting. I hope he gets well. I sure do. All right, we'll be back in a minute to talk about Tom Brady, but first, when it comes to scoring great hires for your business, you may be up against a few obstacles, like an overwhelming amount of resumes, too many applicants, but not enough of the right ones, trouble spotting the most qualified candidates in a sea of possibilities. That's why you need ZipRecruiter on your team. No matter the industry, healthcare to manufacturing to business services, ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. First, when you post a job on ZipRecruiter, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites. Then, ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology hustles for you to find people with the right experience for your job and invites them to apply. In fact, check out this stat. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So add ZipRecruiter to your roster to help you win the hiring game. To try ZipRecruiter for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. That's ZipRecruiter.com/BOMANI. ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. All right, so as we are recording this game, the NFL world is kind of turning upside down. Tom Brady sent out a message saying that he was leaving the Patriots. Cam Newton has been given permission to seek a trade. Both of those things seem to like really blindside the Twitter sphere when they happen, Gabe. And I feel like those things in combination with Corona point out something very interesting, which is nothing surprises Americans more than things that they knew were coming. All right. Like people are like, oh my God, Tom Brady's not coming back to New England. It wasn't that the whole point of being a free agent? Right? Like what's the stunner here? Guy who had chances to stay before this did not stay. Got it. Cam Newton, permission to go seek a trade. No shock there. No shock there. I don't know exactly where Tom Brady's going to go. It's starting to look a little bit more like Tampa Bay. I have no idea how it works out for Cam Newton. Now, let me ask you this, Gabe. Your team has Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. If you could get Cam Newton for a second-round pick and maybe trade Jimmy Garoppolo to somebody else, would you do it?
For sure.
That's a good question because I don't know how healthy Cam is or is not, right? Like, that's the whole thing about this is I don't know where his foot is in the process, how healthy he'll look when he gets back. But I feel like 75% Cam Newton better than 100% Jimmy Garoppolo if you can get it, right? Like, what team is going to make this move and decide that Cam Newton is a guy for them to pick up. Like, let's get a look here at who the NFL teams are. Teams that, I'm not just going to say teams that would be better if they had Cam Newton, because, like, for example, you could make that argument about Buffalo, but they're in on Josh Allen. They're not changing that. Miami, that would be a team I think should consider a Cam Newton. Washington, they don't seem to be too enamored with their guy. What kind of pick can Carolina get for Cam given where his body is? So, like, I think about it. Tyrod Taylor, when the Browns traded for him in 2018, they got him for a 4th-round pick. Josh Rosen went last year for a 2nd-round pick, but Josh Rosen is very young. Like, that's a little bit of a different situation. I don't know what the market is for a guy as banged up as Cam is. But I also feel like you kind of got to roll the dice if you are in a position where you absolutely look at your team and you need a quarterback. Like, if I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, for example, why would I not trade a 2nd-round pick to get Cam Newton? Are you really trusting what's his name, Minshew, that much? It is very rare that you have this many quarterbacks who are going to be available in free agency. Guys that you don't have to give up something for, right? So Tom Brady, I mean, that's an example of a guy. Obviously, Nick Foles is out there. Andy Dalton, I guess, is going to be out there, whether by trade or free agency. I guess it's a similar place with the Jaguars, just as a guy that you have the option of getting. It is not very often, at least it don't feel like to me, that there are that many guys that are available out here. The Patriots become interesting. Here's my question for you. Can you imagine Cam Newton and all them funny suits in Boston?
Yeah, you can almost like imagine in your head how all that's going to play out on Boston Sports Radio, can you?
I mean, how many bad games could he be allowed to have? Right? That's the question. One bad game? Is it going to take 2 bad games? Like, how many bad games is it before the whole thing turns around? Because this is actually, there are 2 franchises in this league that have had a black quarterback start one game. One is the Patriots, and the other is the Giants. Remember that one time they started Geno Smith, and they were so guilty that they gave Eli Manning 2 more years? That's the only game a black quarterback had ever started for the New York Giants. And I'm pretty sure that Jacoby Brissett, that game that he started after Garoppolo got hurt, was the one game that a black quarterback has started for the New England Patriots. Gabe, I feel like throwing him all the way into the deep end with Cam Newton may be asking a little bit too much.
It might. I don't even think it would take one game, because that conversation would start around like training camp practice and who was looking good and who wasn't looking good. And the case would be made for the backup quarterback.
No matter who it is. That Jarrett Stidham, that would be the best thing ever for Jarrett Stidham's PR, is if they sign Cam Newton. That'd be the best thing ever. I just saw Chase Daniel. Gabe, you just let me know Chase Daniel just signed a deal.
Still in the league.
Still in the league. He signed with the Lions. How much he getting paid this time? Right? Hold on. A new contract for another $13 million. Chase Daniel. Ask me how much money Chase Daniel has made in his career up until this point. $34 million. $34 million. 34. How many games has Chase Daniel started? And Chase Daniel has made $43 million. That is amazing. Somehow, while not playing, he convinced the league that he was the best backup quarterback in the league. Without ever actually having to play a game, he convinced people that he was the best at something. And now this new deal, another $13 million.
He could hold that clipboard up really well.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. And by the way, this on a team that might need a quarterback, right? Because Stafford and all his injury issues. So we got all these dudes who are out here. Tom Brady, he better, does it matter if he plays well next year? Like, what happens if he comes out here and has a bad game? I mean, a bad season, rather. Like, what happens if Tom Brady comes out here and stinks it up? Is the world prepared for that? And can you imagine how disappointing it'll be for whoever gets him?
You don't think that they think it'll be a gamble in any way?
I do think they think that it's a gamble. The thing about the Chargers is, though, there's an argument to be made that they're a quarterback away. Like, that's what they need, is a quarterback. And so if they're a quarterback away, is this the quarterback? That's the question I got. Remember this. The Chargers went 5-11 last year. Their point differential was -8. -8. Like, if Phillip Rivers doesn't throw so much away, keep in mind, this team once had a game where they had 7 turnovers. if he doesn't throw the ball away so much, this might be a playoff team. Are you going to put this in the hands of old Tom Brady? I don't know about that one. Like, I feel like the way this is going to go for the Patriots and for Tom Brady, long term, everybody might be happier by him moving on. But in 2020, it's going to stink for everybody. All right, we'll be back in a minute to talk more NFL free agency. But first, tired of that 230 feeling? You're not alone. In fact, research shows that more than 70% of us hit the wall after lunch. Let a 5-hour energy shot help you leap over that wall instead of crashing into it. Anyone who travels frequently knows how tiring it can be. Whether you're on business or on vacation, a 5-hour energy shot can help you stay alert and energized wherever you may be headed. 5-hour energy helps you get through your crazy on-the-go life. With 0 sugar, 4 calories, and a convenient portable size, it's the perfect pick-me-up for busy, hard-working people. Now it comes in 2 great extra-strength tropical tastes, strawberry banana and tropical burst. They are delicious and can take you to a tropical on-the-go experience. Try them both, then go online at shop5hourenergy.com and use the code Bomani to receive a one-time offer of 10% off your order. Shop 5hourenergy.com and use the code Bomani to receive a one-time offer of 10% off your first order. Go to shop5hourenergy.com and use the code Bomani to receive a one-time offer of 10% off your order. 5-Hour Energy, energy on the go. Did you see that Bill O'Brien traded away somebody else he doesn't like? All right, please understand this. Buffalo traded Stephon Diggs and a number 7 and got back a 1, a 2, and a 6. The Texans traded DeAndre Hopkins to the Cardinals, did not get back a first-round pick, and got back an expensive running back. Who does that? And they put it out there that the reason why they did it was because Hopkins was going to ask for a new contract. Gabe, he has 3 years left on his deal. 3 years left on his deal. So you have one of the 5 best receivers in the league on a cheap deal, and you trade him for a running back on an expensive deal because the receiver on the cheap deal was going to ask for more money one day? What? Like, what are you doing? I talked to folks in Houston, man, and you got to understand, it is a very sensitive time in Houston, all right? And I understand that some of you are not from Texas or don't really know nothing about Houston, but I'm going to explain to you how serious this Rona is, all right? It's so serious that they canceled the rodeo. It used to be called the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, but it's the future now. So, you know, they call it Rodeo Houston. All right. They do the rodeo at NRG. That's where they do the rodeo. All right. How many people that hold? Like 70,000 people. And you got to understand, they pack them in. All right. The attendance for the rodeo in 2019, Gabe, 2.5 million. 2.5 million. And you got to understand, like, they do, like, the concerts are the thing. So, you know, like, I know George Strait used to be the dude every year. I think he used to do like the first concert, the last, whatever. Like, you got your big stars in country, but also like Beyonce's done that. Selena's most legendary performance was at the rodeo. Cardi B has played the rodeo. Like, the rodeo is a big thing. It's a major thing for life in Houston and in the areas around Houston, because all the people in like the little small towns who raise the animals and stuff like that, you take them down to the, you know, to the show to go do all this. The rodeo is a big deal. Bro, they shut down the rodeo. All right. When I saw that they shut down the rodeo, I was like, oh, this is very, very serious. So they in Houston, they had to shut down the rodeo, all of this stuff. And then you go trade DeAndre Hopkins for a bag of rocks. Bill O'Brien, what are you doing? Like, for real, what are you doing? So you've got your franchise quarterback who's out there running for his life all the time. And the one thing that he has been able to count on, Deshaun Watson, the one thing that Deshaun Watson was always able to lean on, Hopkins is open. Worst came to worst, Hopkins was going to be open. And now you take that away. So what you going to lean on? Will Fuller, who stay injured? You think you're going to lean on that? How is this supposed to go if you are the Houston Texans. And all because they let that man be the head coach and the general manager, and there's nobody in position to fire him. And I'm telling you right now, man, if the Rona wasn't out here ravaging these streets, man, they'd be outside the stadium waiting on this dude. Waiting on him. Why they trade him? It seems primarily because they don't like him. Hold on, Gabe. Something's changed. I don't know if you've seen this. Looking on Instagram right now. Panthers sent a tweet that said, we have given Cam Newton permission to seek a trade. Forgive me if I don't read this comment properly, but it is a comment from Cam Newton, and it says, stop with the wordplay. I never asked for it. There's no dodging this one. I love the Panthers to death and will always love you guys. Please do not try and play me.
It's interesting how these things play out in real time and play out on social media where players can respond immediately to what, is basically a team statement.
You are correct. I love the Panthers to death and will always love you guys. Please do not try and play me or manipulate the narrative and act like I wanted this. You forced me into this. Cam, Times New Roman, bruh. Ariel, Courier New. Now is not the time for these glyphs. Like Gabe, he did it in all the funny letters. I think he just sends everything like that. Cam can send you a text message saying that his mama died and it'll be in this. Come on, man. Time and place. But, they've made their call. Like I say, I get it. If you just don't think that he can physically play anymore, you go ahead and make that move. But if they start over for the sake of starting over, they are dummies. They are dummies. By the way, as we were talking about that DeAndre Hopkins, if you're Kyler Murray, this is a win, right? It's like I got old Larry Fitzgerald on one side and the closest thing to Larry Fitzgerald on the other. Like, he's winning. Cam out here like, I wish somebody would have traded for DeAndre Hopkins for me, especially since the Texans were just giving him away. What kind of trade package you think could get Deshaun Watson from Bill O'Brien? I think you could get Deshaun Watson for Bill O'Brien for a number one. And by the way, he put a number two with Deshaun Watson. I think you could get it. Like, it's just one of the dumbest things in the world that you would make this play and nobody saw it coming. And clearly, O'Brien didn't call nobody else. If you could get all of that for Stephon Diggs, this is all you could get for DeAndre Hopkins. So O'Brien's players don't seem to like him. The city don't seem to like him. He isn't winning, but there's nobody to fire him. Whew. I am glad I don't root for that team. But Gabe, right fast, the team you do root for. Y'all traded Buckner. Y'all kept Armstead. Y'all traded Buckner. I'm impressed that they could tell Armstead and Buckner apart. They're like damn near the same dude. They both went to Oregon, both about 295, both taken in the first round. Like, they seemed like the same dude. I know that Buckner is the better player, and it just sounds like they took the one that was cheaper. Like, that's what it seems like to me. They took the one that is cheaper, and I give them credit. They recognized they couldn't pay them both, and so they made a move and got something for one of them. Like, I think that's going to wind up working out. They're going to get every bit as far as they can get before their quarterback makes it hard on them. That's right. None of this matters when your quarterback throws interceptions with his eyes closed. Play the music.
We know you can't be on top of all the news and information of the day. No need for the social media feeds. We got you. Now, if you haven't heard.
All right, our first story comes from education.
Hi, my name is Lee Zoe. I am a reporter at Vox.com, and this week I wrote a piece about how college closings across the country are disproportionately hurting low-income students who've had to scramble to address unexpected costs because of schools shutting down and moving to online coursework. Some of these costs include trying to figure out alternative housing, transportation, as well as storage. And on top of that, what we've seen is that some students are looking to cover the cost of things like high-speed internet access because that's something that they'll need now that classes will be exclusively online. Additionally, there are students who have called out the fact that term time jobs were hugely important for them in that these jobs help both support them and in some cases their families. And these wages are now salaries that they won't see because they won't be on campus anymore. It's been interesting to see how different colleges have handled the response. I think some institutions, including places like Harvard, have faced criticism because they weren't initially super clear in how they would financially support students. At this point, Harvard has said it does provide aid to students who need it for transportation, potentially for housing, and for storage as well. Some of the outstanding costs like internet and like compensation for that term time work are still still being figured out and potentially not being addressed. I think the larger question that this has raised is trying to figure out how we as a society and as institutions can cope with the response to the coronavirus, but try to understand how it's affecting different people differently and make sure that people's needs are continuing to be taken care of as they would be if school was continuing to be in session. I think the other question that this has raised too is that many of these institutions are very wealthy and have large endowments. In the case of Harvard, the endowment is roughly $40 billion. And so for them to cover ancillary costs that students might be facing is not a huge ask relative to the resources that they have at their disposal. An interesting dynamic that we've seen in response to a lot of these needs is that student groups and alumni have stepped in to hold crowdfunding campaigns and tried to solicit donations that can further help students with additional needs, and that can range from food assistance for when they're back home to covering some of those internet costs we've talked about.
Yo, so this is a thing that hit me. One thing I want to encourage the people who are listening to this who went to college to do is check on whether your alma mater has some sort of student emergency fund or emergency assistance fund or something like that. I looked into it for my alma mater, Clark Atlanta University. And for those of you who are CAU alums, I know for fact that CAU has an emergency assistance fund for students. I put something on it over the weekend. If you are a CAU alum, I encourage you to do the same. And I say that because I feel like, and I'm going to talk about my alma mater in particular on this. I imagine that others of you feel the same about the experience at yours, so relate it as you can. But I think something that for a lot of people, based on how you came up, that can be difficult to appreciate is there are a lot of people who are in college and really cannot afford it. Like, there are people around them in their lives, themselves in their own lives, that are doing everything that they humanly can just to get to college. And they figure out how they're going to get through that one semester. And then they figure out how they're going to get through the time between it. And then they figure out how they're going to get through the summer and the likes. And I'm talking about those people that when the fall semester ends, they don't know where they're going to be staying until the dorm opens back up in January. Like, those kinds of folks and those kinds of people, now they don't know what to do right now. Like all this has happened and it's thrust them into a real tough situation. And by the way, a lot of those people are contracting this virus, so like we got people that are being affected by it, like before we even get to the ones that actually like have it. So I ask you, and I say this as a person, I don't give back to my alma mater. It's a long discussion as to why I do not, but I acknowledge that I do not. But if your school has a way to put some money directly in the hands of students at a time like this, I strongly encourage you to find a way to assist, right? Like, even if it's you just find somebody online that's got a story or whatever that you believe, or whoever it happens to be. And again, if you are an alumnus of Clark Atlanta University, if you are a student at Clark Atlanta University, if you know somebody that's a student, tell them. And tell them I said it, because I don't know how it works. I don't know how long it's going to take them to cut checks. I don't know any of that. I don't know how to go about giving away money to people in a time like this to get it to them in a timely fashion as they need it. I don't have the ability to vet these things or anything else, right? But I'm telling you right now, if you are a student at CAU or you know a student at CAU, they have an emergency assistance fund. I know it's got some money in it because I know that I put some money in it. Go ask them about it, right? And if you have problems when you ask them about it, come tell me about it, and I'll help figure out how it is that you can get this money, because there are a lot of people that are in need in this position right now, and I honestly myself don't have the greatest handle on how to help you, and so I went about it in what seemed to be the best way that I knew how to do it, and I want you to be able to go over there and to get that money. And if you need that money and you cannot get it, come holler at me, and I will make sure that you get my damn money.
All right, our next story comes from transportation.
Hey, this is Brittany Shamus with the Washington Post. I recently wrote a story about a man who got into a nearly 4-year legal battle with the state of Kentucky over his desire to have the words "I'm God" on a vanity license plate. Ben Hart, who's now 80, said he became an atheist around the age of 15 when he started questioning the story of Noah's Ark and, as he put it, what kind of God would drown every baby in the world. He first had the I'm God license plate in Ohio and applied to get the same one when he moved to Kentucky. But the state of Kentucky called it vulgar or obscene and said it could create a distraction. Ben Hart argued he had a First Amendment right to get the license plate that he wanted. After a lengthy battle in court, he ended up winning and was recently able to go pick up the license plate. He said he told people in line at the DMV that it was the world's most famous license plate. Now it's on the back of his Jeep.
I mean, the thing is, the only thing that we can all agree on is that he's not. Gabe, am I wrong here?
You don't know that.
I guess that's true. I tell you this, if he is God, it don't sound like he's really cashing in on what I think the perks were.
Have you seen a picture of this dude?
I have.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying, if I was God, I'd be driving a nicer car than that.
That is a very, very fair point.
Like, that's all I'm saying. And it is interesting that Kentucky's like, nah, dog, we ain't going for that.
We're not going for that, but they still got overruled.
Yeah, but still, you gotta try, right?
All right, this last story comes from gaming.
My name is Scott Polasek, and I work for Bleacher Report. A story I wrote this past week is about 2K's venture back into the world of football video games. The company is known for its wildly successful NBA 2K game and also has titles in WWE and golf, but has not created an NFL game since 2004. 2K announced that is about to change in a press release last Tuesday, as it reached a multi-year agreement with the NFL to create multiple non-simulation football video games. 2K also said the games will be, quote, centered on fun, approachable, and social experiences. The NFL 2K franchise ran from 1999 to 2004, but things changed when EA Sports obtained an exclusive license from the league and the NFL Players Association. Its Madden series is now the king of football video games, and these new non-simulation games from 2K shouldn't necessarily be considered direct competitors in apples-to-apples comparisons. EA Sports said in a statement it is still the exclusive publisher of NFL simulation games, with an unchanged partnership with the NFL and NFLPA that always allowed for non-exclusive development of non-simulation games. 2K's press release did not provide specific information for titles and release dates, but the project is scheduled to launch at some point in 2021.
I think they was gone too long. Like, Madden has become the Xerox of football games, right? Like, that's an NFL game, we call it Madden. That's what it is. I don't think the streets were clamoring for another one. Like, I don't see how this works if it's not going to be a simulation.
Now, were you always a 2K guy, or did you play NBA Live before?
I was a NBA Live player, but then it reached a point where, honestly, man, like, I don't feel like I was in good enough shape to play any of those video games anymore. It was damn near like actually being in the game. It required too much.
Well, what's interesting about NBA Live was like NBA Live was the jam when I was in high school, and I would play that exclusively. And then 2K was kind of whack. And then all of a sudden, NBA Live was the one that was whack. NBA Live went away, came back, and it didn't work. And they were like, yeah, sorry, we're just not going to come out with NBA Live again.
Yep, that is how it played out. Like, I could go back to when the Dreamcast came out. The Dreamcast came out and changed the game. I feel like that's when the 2K got started, if I wasn't mistaken, because it was on the Dreamcast. And that was the game changer there. And then everybody kind of had to step their thing up, and then 2K came over and was over there in the PlayStation world and got it cracking. But nah, at this point, man, I can't use all my fingers playing video games. Wow, I feel so old talking about these old systems, man. Like, I like break out a Nintendo 64 in front of the kids, and they ain't gonna show no respect. All right, we'll be back in a minute with your stories about quitting football. But first, don't you think some once-in-a-blue-moon moments should happen more than once in a blue moon? Like catching up with friends you don't see all the time? Checking out one of your favorite artists live in concert? Blue Moon is on a mission to celebrate and inspire more of those moments. Just like those looking for the special in the everyday, Blue Moon takes a twist on the traditional Belgian wit. Blue Moon was created during the 1995 baseball season at the Sandlot Brewery at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Blue Moon founder and brewmaster was inspired by the flavorful Belgian wits he enjoyed while studying brewing in Brussels. Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and coriander for balance, with oats that create a smooth, creamy finish. It brings a one-of-a-kind appearance and bright taste. Why the name Blue Moon? As someone was tasting the beer, they said, a beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon should happen more than once in a blue moon. So whenever you reach for a blue moon, be reminded of the extraordinary. Next time you're out with friends or just enjoying a night in, reach for a Blue Moon. It's the beer you can enjoy every day. You can have Blue Moon delivered by going to get.bluemoonbeer.com and finding delivery options near you. Blue Moon, reach for the moon. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado, ALE.
Hey, this is Bomani. You have reached the right time voicemail. Say whatever you want. Get creative with it. But this is your place to talk back to the show. So talk back. Peace.
All right, Bo. In these trying times, we thought we'd bring back an oldie but goodie. Tell us about that time that made you quit playing football. The people responded. We got over 30 voicemails, so I tried to pick the best ones that I could. Our first comes from a familiar voice out in Oakland.
Bo, what up? This is Logan Murdoch in high school. I remember my senior year in Berkeley High. I was a quarterback, and I forgot who it was against, but I was going back to pass. I got pushed down, and I hit my head on the field, and it hurt so bad, and I wound up getting my first concussion. I don't remember this. This has all been talked back to me. I remember hearing from my teammates saying, yo, where are you right now? And I said, bro, I don't know. They say, what date is it? Man, I said the date that was 2 weeks in the future. That's what I thought I was at. I didn't know where I was at or anything. And that single-handedly got me into journalism because I told myself I'm never playing football again after this. I'm never going to do this. This is it. This is over. That's the hardest hit I've ever gotten in football, and it got me out of football and into journalism.
Yeah, Logan, well, he covers the Warriors. They had some cats I was in college. They was outside playing tackle football. Don't ask me why. Like dudes in the dorm. And this one dude got dropped onto Cabeza, and they asked him what his name was, and he answered that. They asked him where he was, and he said he was at home. And they're like, well, where's home? He says, the motherland. Yeah, we were in Southwest Atlanta. we were not. Maybe that's the motherland to somebody, but no. Yeah, he's like the motherland, and we didn't take concussions and things like that serious back then, so they just took him inside.
It's kind of like when kids get their wisdom teeth removed, or like just after a surgery and they still got the laughing gas going.
Yes,
and they get in the car and the parents just ask them random stuff and they just spout off.
Yes, that's kind of what you get.
This next one, the guy didn't leave where he's from, but he said he played at Ohio University.
I thought it'd be more appropriate to talk about the time football actually quit me. I never really quit, but there was a time when you just want something so bad and you just know you're not going to get it. So I was a junior at Ohio University, and so I walked on to the team. It was my freshman year, and over the next 2 years I was making strides. My sophomore year I made the travel team. And then my junior year, I was getting a lot of playing time on special teams. And so on the depth chart, I was third string strong safety, which, at a mid-major, is nothing, but you're just a few injuries away from playing, what I thought. So it was week 8. I believe we were playing Buffalo. They had a pretty solid team, but our team, we were going through some injuries. So our starting strong safety had hemorrhoids. He was out. Our backup strong safety, he had plantar fasciitis. He was out. So I was like, oh, damn, it's my time to shine. I had made a few tackles on special teams. I was doing some work on scout team. So I took it upon myself, to take initiative. And so I ran from the scout team defense when I heard, the individual was hurt. I ran over to the first team defense, and I'm like, coach, I'm ready. This is in front of everybody. I'm like, I'm next on the list. He looks at me. He looks around, and he says in his Mississippi accent, what are you doing here? And it was at that moment that I realized I was never going to get an opportunity to play on that defense. And that defense was coached by, I guess, the first father of football right now, Jimmy Burrow. And he actually took the love of football away from me, and he knows it.
Didn't see that coming.
Hemorrhoids?
Yes, that too. That too. Did they put that on the injury report, or did they keep that low? And he, wow. I was not expecting the Joe Burrow overlap. Dog, he said my man hit him with, what are you doing here? I don't even know. I'm looking it up. He said in the Mississippi accent, it say my man was born in Hampton, Virginia. Damn. Wow. Let's go to the next one.
All right, this last one comes from Matt in Oakland.
So the day that I quit playing football was actually kind of before I ever really got started. It was in 8th grade, and I was interested in transferring to a school to play football, like a bigger school. But my parents, they didn't really want me playing football because they thought it was too dangerous. So what my dad did was he decided he was going to take me on a trip to a De La Salle football game so I could learn from some of the best. Now, for those who don't know what De La Salle is, they were probably maybe the best high school football team in U.S. history. They won 151 straight games from 92 to 2004. We were going to go see them. So we were in the stands. My pops was coaching me through the game as they were playing. And I'm just watching De La Salle just absolutely kill this poor school. Just bone-crushing hits and things like that. And then around halftime, my pops leaned over and told me, so just so you know, you're not going to be playing on a team like De La Salle. You're going to be playing on a team like that team. And that was when I realized that I just wasn't meant for football. So I just decided to stay my ass in private school, and that was that.
Oh, by the way, Joe Burrow's daddy is from Mississippi. I looked it up. But he said, yo, you're not going to be on the good team. You're going to be on the sorry team. Why would I do that?
That's something that I feel like most people don't think about when they join, like, just even youth sports, you know?
Right.
You're lucky if you get on a good team.
Oh, yeah. No. They're like, oh, no. You're not going to be the hammer. Right? Like, that's the thing. Like, you're not going to be the hammer. I understand why you would think that. You're going to be the nail, buddy. That's a great way to sell somebody off of playing football. Yeah. So what's going to happen if you're on the other team? Oh man. Is that the last one?
That's the last one.
Oh, that's disappointing, man. Cause I know you said the line filled up, huh?
You want a bonus one?
Let's do a bonus.
All right. This bonus one comes from Rich in Florida.
So in college, I was getting ready to walk on to our university, but before we did, our fraternity had a little turkey bowl, actors versus pledges, which may have been hazing, but we didn't see it that way. So we were playing them in this one play. One of their dudes who was a cross player lit my homeboy up. I missed it, but I recovered the fumble, and then I turned around and was ready to celebrate, and I saw my homeboy laying on the ground. We walk over there, and you know, in like wrestling with the Undertaker, how his eyes roll in the back of his head, that's what my boy was doing, and his feet were all kicking out. So we were all like, yo, like, I mean, we getting beat up enough. Can we stop now? And they say, yeah. So they cut the game, but we had to take a team picture because they jerks. So we put our arms around him. We propped him up, and in the photo, dude looks like he's possessed. Eyes just rolled back, just staring at the sky, drool coming out. He came to like an hour later, and he was like, what happened, man? What happened in the game? And so then the next day I sent an email to the coach, and I said, look, man, I saw my boy pretty much get turned into the Undertaker, and, I don't need this sport in my life. So I walked away, and, I haven't regretted it since.
Wow, look at fraternity hazing, turning out something positive in the end. I do not understand people like playing football who are not on a football team.
I don't understand how he glossed over the fact that they propped up their knocked out friend in the team photo.
Well, he said because they were jerks. He did call them jerks. Like there's a real Weekend at Bernie's element to that, right? I think we don't. Wow. Whew. Don't pledge. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this thing here a couple times a week. My man Gabe Bassain handles everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Also, thank you to our sponsors. Thanks to My Computer Career. Thanks to ZipRecruiter. Thanks to 5 Hour Energy. Also, thanks to Blue Moon. And thank you to our If You Haven't Heard contributors. Thanks to Lee Zoe of Vox. Check out her story on college students and the response to the coronavirus at Vox.com. Thanks to Brittany Shamas of the Washington Post. Check out her story on the Kentucky man with a license plate that says that he's God at WashingtonPost.com. And thanks to Scott Polasek of Bleacher Report. Check out his story on the multi-year agreement that NFL and 2K have reached about a new video game. Also, remember, subscribe to The Right Time. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. If they give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you're a hater, and I'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.
Thanks for checking out The Right Time with Bomani Jones podcast.
You can listen or subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Right Time
with Bomani Jones.